Good morning. Ooh, just trying to adjust my tripod. Okay. Awesome. We are live. Whew, I'm just going to take a couple of breaths and take a sip of water and wait to see who shows up. I'm not going to wait for too long though. There's a few things that I want to say. There's quite a few things I want to comment on. Okay. Let's get that. Yay, there's Renee already. And Renee, looks like I can add you straight away, which is awesome. Cool, and Lindsay, I can see you and I can add you. Great. So Renee, I'm gonna bring you in first. Let me just do this.
So cool, it's easy for us even though you guys are on Android. Yay! Okay, it says adding Renee. The magic of Facebook is adding you. We'll wait. Success!
Success!
Wow, it
Now,
happened
where am I
easily.
going to put
Alrighty.
easy?
That was easy, and we're on. We're on. So everyone who is watching, this is Renee Meikle-John, who is one of my oldest friends. We met in 1995 in Takapuna at the Sandbar restaurant where we were both waitressing. It was my first ever waitressing gig, and Renee was an old pro. I'm pretty sure you like showed me the ropes, Ren. And we ended up living together and partying together and having a whole bunch of epic experiences together. And then we kind of went our separate ways for a long time, and then reconnected through the Women's Day of all things. Because do you remember I put in?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know how, it was before the days of social media, etc. And so I didn't know how to find you when I came back to New Zealand. So the Women's Day used to run this kind of page where you could write in and say, I've lost so-and-so, does anyone know where they are? Yeah. And I wrote in and said, I've lost my friend Renee. And didn't you find it at the hairdressers or something?
Someone found it, and then I found it. Yeah.
Yeah. I know.
Good old Women's Day.
Good old Women's Day. So Ren and I reconnected, and she's been like in the last 3 or 4 years. Renee's been on 6, 7 retreats with me. You've done a lot. You've done your teacher training.
Yeah, I've done a lot.
Yeah, and she was the last person to proof sex, drugs, and yoga. So it was Renee's sharp eagle teacher eyes that went through. You can see all those little post-its and found the last mistakes. So welcome, Renee.
It was awesome.
Well, so nice to have you on here, so we can chat on so many different levels, because you've been there for so many of the different stages along the way, you know.
Yeah, for sure. And I think congratulations for hitting #1 as well. I saw that little post on the event page. Like that was the plan, right? To go to #1. So I think you just manifest that, all of it.
Yeah.
You just say what you want, and the world just does it. So yeah, well done, girl.
Thank you.
That's awesome.
It was big thanks to Dave Thompson and his crew. Like, they knew what they were doing, and I just was like, okay, cool. I'm into your hands, guys. So you've read the book. Tell it. Like, what was it like for you? Because you know me, but you probably didn't know a lot of the stuff that was in the book when you read it.
Yeah, it was like it filled a lot of gaps. There was definitely gaps that were filled by reading the book. Like, I think I was on your journey for a lot of the time, and then there were bits where I just didn't even know, really. I knew you were over in Whistler, but I didn't have any contact with you in those times and stuff. So there were big blocks where I was like, oh, right, that's what happened there. Ouch. That's pretty massive. Because of course I've had my own, my own healing journey alongside yours, and also my mum was diagnosed bipolar, and for a lot of my healing over the last 5 years, I've been like, I wish my mum was still around so that I could be giving her, this kind of healing, or I could be helping her see her illness in a different way, because I think back when she was diagnosed, we didn't even know what it was, really. She just used to have these episodes, and we thought they were nervous breakdowns, and there was not enough education and knowledge about different ways to heal mental illness, and what mental illness manifests in us as well. I think we all have bipolar tendencies. It's just how we deal or not deal with that. Yeah.
Yeah, what was it
Yeah.
like for you? Because, I mean, like you said, your mum was diagnosed bipolar, so you had an intimate experience of living with someone, you know, or being around someone that was in the medical system for it. Did my perspective on it make sense with what you saw with your mum?
Totally. Yeah, I mean, with mum, she was in a relationship with a man who supported her in what she was making the calls. So she only ever went on the drugs once because they made her hallucinate, and she went out and saw she lived in Hekura Bay on Waiheke, and she got to the top of the bay and saw blood. The whole bay was full of blood one day, and dead whales, and that was a hallucination. And it was the only time that she ever took the drugs. I think it was lithium for that. And after that, she was like, no, I'm not doing that anymore. But it wasn't like she ever did anything else. She just would go into highs, and then she'd have lows, and people would see her topless with her Walkman on, you know, running down the road kind of thing, because she was on a high. Yeah, so the truck scene was interesting with the old topless game show Fear Factor style. So that was choice, because I was like, oh, okay, yeah, I recognise that. I mean, I certainly didn't see mum, but someone told me about it, you know. So yeah, I think that there are similarities in that psychosis / you know, the manic, definitely part of bipolar, where you go up and down, and it's how to deal with the energy and how to deal with the mind and the process the mind goes in, because you can get so locked in to that, and there's so much misunderstanding about it, and how people in the system want to diagnose and medicate and fix, rather than listen and empathize and acknowledge. So I think yeah, there's so much in it, and everyone has a different way of dealing with it too, don't they?
Yeah.
Depending on who they're with, or what support networks and relationships they have around them. Yeah, which
I think that's why it was so
massive.
important for me to write this, to share. Here's one way of perceiving and dealing with and healing from these experiences of psychosis, of bipolar, so that other people would see what was possible. Because one thing that really intrigued me was that I spent a lot of time after the psychosis going through the content of the psychosis, because often it's just, oh, that's just crazy. That's just crazy. You know, seeing blood and dead whales, and that's just an hallucination. But I was like, no, this comes from somewhere. There's a reason why there is this particular hallucination, or there's a reason why there is this particular delusion. And so the sense that I had is, if I can understand where that is coming from, then I can attend to what's needed, whether it's some kind of pattern of behavior, whether it's some kind of unconscious belief. Like, I could use the content for the healing journey. And I'm not sure if that's something that the Western medical model does very often. Like, nobody was particularly interested in understanding the content of the psychosis that I was going through. You know, there was just this blank, that's crazy, I don't want to know about it, it freaks me out.
Yeah, we'll fix it, we'll medicate it, or we'll lock it up.
Yeah, totally. Like, to go into it is just too freaking scary. Just turn my phone.
But I think as well, like, you know, being able to understand the patterns that are underneath a lot of the behavior stuff. You know, I mean, I've worked with healers where you don't even need to talk to them about why you do a certain thing. You can actually fix the feeling, or fix the trauma or the pain, without even having to disclose or talk about what happened with Uncle Barry, or, you know, whatever it was that you think that is underneath. Whereas a lot of counsellors will rehash that over and over, and you work with different people. I mean, I have a blatant mistrust of a lot of counsellors because of the way of my upbringing, and the way that counselling was used as a tool, but also they were the thought police, and they got into our heads, and they were manipulating and indoctrinating us at a cult community kind of level. So yeah, there's mistrust there. But I think a lot of people go into mainstream counselling with professional bodies, and it might not be safe to relive the trauma again and
Yeah.
again. Doesn't need to happen.
It doesn't need to happen. I think
There are other
that's
ways to deal with it.
yeah. I think there is a
Mm.
big shift that's happening, and understanding that mentally understanding something doesn't release the trauma out of the system. And I am seeing a shift in terms of so many more treatments or modalities coming online that are somatic based, that are energetic based, and understand that all, like you said, all we need to do is actually release the energetic and the emotional roots of something. We don't need to go into the story over and over again. In fact, that is counterproductive.
Yeah, and it can re-traumatize all over again.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's juicy.
It is so juicy. That's why one of the reasons I'm so excited about the book coming out, because it opens up these conversations around, well, what is bipolar, and can we actually, because when I was diagnosed, it was like one of my family members said to me, oh, well, that's it for life. Now you're on medication for life. And I'm just like, fuck that shit. I'm going to understand this.
Yeah.
I know, fuck that shit. You ain't defining me. I'm going to find a way. There is a way to understand this experience so that I can fully come back to wholeness, so I can fully integrate. And I know within the Western medical model, there's still an idea that if you're defined or, classified as bipolar or schizophrenic or any of these things, that they're seen as a lifelong sentence, that there literally is something wrong with your brain. And I want to challenge that idea and say it's not necessarily true. Yeah.
Yeah. And I love how in the book you go, fuck that shit. It's actually one of your bylines. You might have to intellectually propertyize, like trademark that line, because in the book it's like, fuck that shit. On retreat, it's like, fuck that shit. No, I'm not going to just, we get into this whole monotonous way of being in society where we go along with stuff, and we don't, it's almost like in our upbringing, we're trained not to, put a stop on the system, or not to what's the word I'm looking for?
Rebel.
To rebel against the system. To be that rebel heart, and go, no, actually, that's not my truth. That's not where I'm at. I'm going to see this in a different way. I'm going to deal with it in a different way, and that's not the way I'm going to do this. Fuck that shit.
Fuck that shit. I agree. I think that's a really big thread in the way that children are socialized and conditioned. They are literally socialized and conditioned to seek approval and to do what they're told and to become one of the masses. And that's counterproductive. Like, it makes for good little worker bees, but it's counterproductive to people being alive and real and finding and being whole and integrated. It's no wonder that we have such high rates of depression and anxiety and OCD and suicide and all of that stuff, because people are going, they're going crazy on the inside because they're not feeling great, and they feel like there's something wrong with them. And often it's not, there's nothing wrong with them. It's society around them. You can feel it in my energy. I get so fucking, like, fuck this shit. Like, it is, it's that rebel heart warrior.
And it's the implications for the children. Like, I've been doing a lot of work just this last couple of weeks around well-being, because I'm going to apply for this job, about health and well-being in education. And I took last year off my full-time teaching job and focused on my well-being. And coming back into the classroom after having that year off, I just noticed that there's just more anxiety. There's more traumatized kids. There's more stuff that's playing out. And in order for these kids to learn, they've got to first feel safe. And they're not hanging their lives up on the coat hook with their bag. They're bringing that into the classroom. And so in order to teach them, we've got to first make them feel like their lives aren't in danger and they're not, like, going to die. And of course they're not going to die, but it's that programming, that reptilian brain stuff that's happening when they get into a trauma, either at home or at school, and they're like, that fight flight thing where they're like, oh my God, my life's in danger. And it's not, but that's the way that they're perceiving it. And so how do we teach these kids to be able to put themselves first, but also to look after their own well-being and be emotionally literate and be able to say, hey, I'm not feeling, particularly safe. How can we help you with that sort of thing?
I love that you're about to move into this work, because I know you're about to move into this work, mindfulness in schools. And to me, that does feel symptomatic of the shift that is happening, where we are becoming more aware that this is necessary, you know, that we need to be, like you say, literally supporting children to feel, I mean, it's crazy, isn't it, that these kids don't feel safe in their bodies just coming to school because of what's going on in the home life, because so many people are stressed and not able to be fully present for their children because of what they've got going on.
And so then also the children aren't learning. One thing I've really noticed this year is the children aren't learning the emotional literacy. They've got parents who are showing them nothing. So they're not learning, you know, they've got, maybe they can tell happy, sad, angry faces, but they're not learning the real nuanced, different kind of facial.
Oh, we just lost your sound, Ren.
Or, you know, like different kinds of facial expression, and that they're not learning that in the home. So we're having to teach more of that at school. You know, well, this is what it looks like to be proud, or this is what it feels like to be, you know.
We've lost sound again on you, Renee.
Okay.
We lost sound. Are you holding the phone in such a way you're over the microphone? Oh, that's better. We can hear you
maybe.
again. Yeah, we can hear you again.
We need to teach our children how to trust the feelings in their bodies, because our bodies are so, you know, they're so clever, and they can tell us that, you know, you get that feeling of nervousness when you start getting sweaty, or your quickness of breath, and, you know, you start to shake, or whatever it is that when you're in a situation where you need to trust your body. And often we're children are taught not to. Oh, well, stop crying, or you know, you don't need to be upset, and so that overrides the instinctual, I need to keep myself safe, and then it becomes a pattern, which then, unless you're sort of starting to wake up and do the work as an adult, then they're just the patterns that you're stuck with forever.
Oh, I would love
to, you know, all of the illnesses. Like, I'm sitting here in Middlemore Hospital at the moment. Like, I'm pretty much on a bit of a watch of my auntie who is losing her battle, and there is so much pain here and sadness that, you know, just hospitals are horrible anyway. But yeah, I mean, the staff are amazing, but yeah, this kind of stuff that we hold on to will manifest in our bodies.
Yeah.
So it just does.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's pretty epic.
So awesome to talk to you about this, Renee. When I think of you and I at like 3 o'clock in the morning slinging gin and tonics across the bar, like 4 at a time, when we're like 19. And
we're like fully like shifting people and playing pool and drinking Coke. Like, really, we used to go and like hustle people and like just be on soft drinks because they were free. Just drink free soft drinks and dance and play free pool.
I know, totally. Oh, those are the days.
Who
These
would
are
have
still
thought?
the days.
Yeah, who would have thought? And I think, go you. And it's been amazing to be able to be part of your journey, and just more books, please.
There's more books coming.
Because I think that everybody who goes out and buys this, and do go out and buy it, is going to be I think you won't be disappointed. You probably will just want to not put it down until you're done. Yeah, because I certainly didn't.
Awesome. Yeah. Renee, thank you so much for coming on to chat, and thank you so much for your amazing proofreading work. And big love to you.
Thank you for having me. I love you.
Love you too.
So proud of you.
Yay.
Okay.
So you have to X your way out, and then I'm going to call Lindsay on.
I'm Xing.
Yay.
Okay.
Right. Hang fire, Lindsay, you're next. We wait for Renee to disappear. This is amazing, Facebook Live. Look at that. All right, so I'm bringing in Lindsay. Lindsay Phillips is one of my oldest friends from Whistler. I met her in my first winter in Whistler, which was like 1998. And I remember her there the whole time. I was in Whistler for 7 years. I remember her at my last birthday party when I was turning 29, which was literally 2 weeks before I ended up in the psych ward. So it says adding Lindsay. I'm so excited, Lindsay, that you're coming on. Welcome. You're in. You're on.
Oh, I can't see. What's happening?
We can see you beautifully. You look great, as
Yeah.
always. Yeah.
All right, cool. As long as I'm there, that's good.
You are here. I'm so super stoked that you get to come on because like you were there in all those years, those 7 years in Whistler, kind of witnessing some of what was happening with me. Oh,
Yeah.
we've lost you. Did you turn the camera around? I'm looking at a white wall and a frame. Oh, you're back.
How's that?
Yep, it's cool. I
Okay.
can see you.
Perfect.
So Lindsay actually lives in New Zealand now. She came to New Zealand in 2008. Was it 2008? You came to, because
Yeah,
I was in
yeah.
Wellington. Yeah.
I left Whistler in 2008 and then came to New Zealand in 2009.
Yeah. And I have to say, like when you came, you actually came and lived with me for a little bit, and it was so healing because it was the first time I'd spent time again with someone from those Whistler years, and it really felt like it reconnected me to that time in my history, you know, and it was such a, like when I left Whistler, so for those of you watching, I'd been in Whistler for 6 or 7 years, and I had two psychotic episodes, August 2004, September 2004, and when I came out the second time, I literally had no choice but to pack up my whole life and within a week come back home to New Zealand. And I've been living in Whistler for 7 years and I fucking adored it. I loved it. I had amazing friends. It was the coolest place ever to live. And I was just heartbroken, so heartbroken about leaving. And so 4 years later, Lindsay rocks up to town and it was just like, it was like reconnecting with a part of me that I felt I'd lost. Mm.
Oh,
What was,
cool.
yeah, what was that like for you? Like, do you remember my last birthday party at Whistler Creek? It was during the day because I remember you being there and Scotty was there and Heather.
Yeah, well, I mean, a lot of the older days are probably a bit fuzzier for me now, being a bit older, and we did have a lot of fun. Yeah, so I mean, there's certain parts that I remember, and then certain parts that, not so much. But I mean, you and I just remember all the like dancing. There was so much, you were the best go-go dancer, flinging your arms around, having so much fun and such good energy. And yeah, the people that we were around at the time, like everyone just had so much love for each other, and it was amazing. And I am so lucky to have been in Whistler when I was, to be part of that and part of, getting to know these amazing people and having such a good time. I really feel like it helped me grow as a person as well. It taught me a lot of different, life experiences, and I feel like I've had a really good life, I've had a really good experience, and moving to New Zealand was, I think, because I'd planned to move away for at least about 4 years. So, I was saving, paying off things, doing my thing, to get out of Whistler because I knew that if I stayed there, I probably would continue having the fun that I was having.
Can we talk a little bit about the fun we used to have? Can we talk about that?
Yeah, for sure.
How would you describe the drug scene or the party scene that we were immersed in?
Well, I mean, obviously for people in New Zealand who have never traveled or never been around to certain parts of the world, drugs were a lot cheaper in Canada, a lot more available, and probably a lot more pure, I guess, is the only way I can describe it. And yeah, the dancing culture in West is just amazing. And so, I remember we used to go to the Rogue Wolf on a
Wednesday night.
Wednesday night at the Rogue, party there all night long, and then go back to Sean's house, party there for the next day, and probably have like a 2 or 3 day party, before you would do it all again. And that might happen twice a week even.
Mm-hmm. And it was the norm. It was the norm, wasn't it? Like I remember one time going, fuck, like I would go out 6 or 7 nights a week, and it was just what was happening. Sometimes I'd get home at I'd have like 2 hours sleep, and then I'd be up and off to my job because I was also working full time a lot of that time, like working 40, 50 hours a week and partying 40, 50 hours a week as well.
Yeah.
Like, and we just did it.
Yeah.
I mean, we were in our 20s, you know.
Yeah. Well, I chalk it up to being a lot younger. 'Cause I used to literally leave the party, go do my work, and then come back to the party. So I remember doing that a lot. And, I guess in Whistler it was the norm to just show up after a whole night of partying to go to work, and no one cared. Like, it was fine. You could just work and do it and do your shift, and then off you go.
Yeah. And I guess because we were working mostly waitressing or cleaning or those kind of jobs, it was actually kind of a good thing. Like, I remember showing up on an hour's sleep, and I'd been partying on ecstasy. And so I was still kind of in that post-ecstasy. I mean, I was still probably on ecstasy. And I was waitressing at the Longhorn. It was like 11 o'clock in the morning on Sunday morning. And we used to draw for the sections. And I got the dance floor section, which was always the biggest. Yeah, right. And I was like, oh shit, it's going to be empty until 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And then I knew that when all the après skiers came down off the mountain, that section was just going to get pumping, and I would be under the hammer, like working so hard. And but I rocked it, man. I sold like $3.5 grand. I still remember I sold like $3.5 grand worth of food and booze that day, and I walked away with like $350 worth of tips. And then I think I went out to Sushi Village and got drunk on sake, and then probably needed to sober up on coke.
As you do.
As you do. So do you remember that last summer? Do you remember, because I'm really curious, like in terms of if you saw any changes in me that last summer, because I was partying a lot less then. I was doing more yoga, more meditation. And I remember that I wasn't doing coke anymore, still smoking a bit of weed, doing a few mushrooms, but I was really getting off the party drugs and more into the consciousness expanding drugs. I don't know if you remember much from that last summer.
Yeah, I don't know, because I myself was probably still just as wasted as usual. So, just interacting with everyone in the different ways. I think everyone was just so used to seeing everyone else wasted. So for me, it wouldn't, I wouldn't have known what you were doing or what you were on or what was happening with you. I would just see, cool, there's Kara-Leah, like, we're gonna have a dance and a laugh and a good time. And then, I mean, I remember, I think I was at Trish and Jase's wedding when I got the call after you'd been at Shambhala and you'd stayed up for however many days, and, your mind went a little crazy. And I just remember getting the call from Juanita, but I was sitting on the patio in the village, like, sort of in between the wedding. And I was just like, oh no, what's happening? What's going on? And they were like, we're going to take her off into the forest and see if we can calm her down. And that I remember that quite clearly, so.
Because you called me that day. At least that's what I remember, is that you called me, because at the time, like, that was after Scott had broken up with me and he left the house. So this was the second psychosis. So I was in the house by myself, and I was having all of this stuff come through me, all of this information, and the grief of Scott leaving me, I couldn't process it. I couldn't feel it. And so in my mind, because all of you guys were at that wedding and I had been meant to be going to that wedding, so I started to spin out and think that he was organizing this mountaintop wedding for me, because all my friends were at a wedding and talking about it. Right. So that's what contributed to the delusion that I went into. And I do remember you calling me, I think on the Sunday morning, and I could tell that you were worried about me, but I was already too far gone. And I think you sent, because you called me, then you might have sent round Lushy, and because they came and got me. And I just remember they got me and they put me in the car, and Lushy had her rubbish in the car because she was going to take it to the rubbish bins, right? And it was so freaking stinky because all of my senses were wide open, and I was so, and I was like, I can't get in the car, I can't get in. And they were, what? I'm like, the rubbish. And literally they had to go and get rid of the rubbish first before I would get in the car. And it was that kind of thing that seemed off. It's like, why don't you just get in the car? And I literally couldn't, because the smell was so intense, because I was so hypersensitive to everything at the time.
Right.
Yeah.
No, I was definitely worried with you, because we had been we were, obviously we always were in close contact, but we were starting that brochure type thing for Dirty Beats, and we'd been meeting up almost daily, and so yeah, when I spoke to you and I knew something wasn't right, I definitely was, worried. And obviously, when you come back from a party, like an outdoor party, and then I think you had stayed up for an extra day or so at the house as well, because I remember you telling me that you just nonstop cleaning, you were nonstop cleaning for like a whole day when you got home because you didn't know what else to do. And
Mm,
yeah, it worries you because obviously, you need to sleep.
yeah. So that was the first
You need to have
psychosis.
time.
Yeah, that was the
Mm.
first psychosis. I remember that so clearly. We drove back from Shumba, and I had already gone into, I'd had an awakening while I was at the festival, but then I couldn't share it with anybody. And when I got back to the house, I think that I just cleaned and cleaned, and it was my wisdom trying to ground me because there's something very, yeah, just something very grounding about taking care of the mundane and dealing with the physical. So it was
Right.
like part of me was trying to look after me and bring me down out of this expansive awakening I had, but it wasn't working. It wasn't enough, and I couldn't sleep. And all of these things just started to flow through. It was just, I mean, I remember so much detail from those experiences. Yeah.
Oh, I bet.
Interesting.
And that was
So
crazy.
interesting.
Then next thing I knew, they were taking you down to Lionsgate Hospital,
Yeah.
and that was it. And there was just rumors, circulating everywhere about everything.
Oh, can you share a couple of rumors? Do you remember anything? Because
Oh,
I didn't hear all that.
basically just, Kara-Leah, you know,
Say that
just
again.
that you had gone crazy kind of thing, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, just that you had gone crazy, obviously, because when you fear factored that truck, that was a pretty decent attempt at getting everyone's attention.
So that
Oh,
fear factor story is in the book. If you like, what is she
oh,
talking about? Fear factoring the truck. So that story is in the book. If you're curious, it's on Amazon right now. It's discounted for about the next 7 hours if you want to grab a copy. Um, awesome, so awesome. Lindsay, one last question actually. When you came and saw me in New Zealand, so that was the first time you'd seen me after the psychosis, how different was I from the fun-loving party girl who was dancing all night? But yeah, like what was I like then?
well, I think, and I don't know if you touch on this in the book at all or what, like I'm pretty excited and keen to read the book, obviously. But you were with Luke, and you were quite a different person. You were just a very, I don't know if I could say sad, but your whole being, I mean, we talked about this a lot when I did live with you, how I didn't
Mm,
feel that he was the right person for you, and how I felt, I didn't like the way he treated you, and it wasn't making you be the best Kara-Leah that you could be. So you and I spoke quite a bit about that, and so you were definitely still inside the Kara-Leah that I knew, but outside you weren't projecting the person that I was used to. And that
mm,
was also, again, a bit concerning for me because I just knew that that relationship was a little bit toxic.
yeah. Yeah, that is in the book, that challenging relationship. And it was, I
Okay.
mean, for me, it was such a growth experience because it was like all of my victimhood, all of my insecurities, all of my neediness needed to come to the surface so I could see them and start to take responsibility for myself. And that relationship was the catalyst for that. And yeah, I was not in a great place for probably a good 7 or 8 years after the psychosis. Like, so you saw me, it was about 4 years after, and I was better than I had been, but I just had to wade through so much grief, so much feeling
Yeah.
awful in order to find the person that I had been in Whistler, but find it through a natural, grounded, radiant place. And I really feel like I'm back there now, and it's just like, oh my God, it's so good to be fully back.
It's
So
like where you are now to where you were when I first got here is just amazing. Like you've done so much and you've learned so much and you've, taught yourself so much about yourself and you've done all these amazing things with the yoga and the meditation and your books and everything. And, you're back to being Kara-Leah, which is great, you know?
yeah.
And it didn't take you that long, honestly. It didn't take you that long.
It felt like a long time. I tell you what, that was a long dark night of the soul.
Yeah, no,
Oh,
but you were back there ages ago, but you just were still kind of dealing with a few different things. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Awesome. Lindsay, thank you so much for coming on and having a chat about the Whistler days.
Yeah,
And th
it's fun to reminisce about that. I do, as much as I obviously love my life now and my little, what I've built and created in New Zealand, you do miss it every now and then. But
yeah,
I still have dance parties at home by myself, just to,
yeah, me
you
too.
know, get them out of my system. So I think we'll
Yeah.
always be that way inclined.
And now you own two restaurants slash bars, don't you? In Hataitai.
Yeah,
Yeah. What are their
yeah.
names again? For the people watching, you
Uh,
never know. Someone might want to come say hi.
yeah, well, we've got Coolsville Trading Post in Hataitai, which is a little cafe, coffees, cabinet food, gifts. And then we just started Bambuchi, named after my dog, Smoochie Bambuchi. And that's
Mm.
a nighttime restaurant in Hataitai as well, serving really awesome food.
Yeah. So if you want to go to an awesome place in Wellington, Lindsay's places are the go because she knows service. Like you have always
Thanks.
been so amazing at hosting people and just making sure that everyone is looked after. So yeah.
That's what I enjoy. So yeah.
Yeah, you're so good at it. Oh, big love to you, babe. Thank you. 20 years of
Yeah, love
friendship.
you.
20 years of friendship.
I know, exciting. I can't wait to
Yeah.
read the book. Grab
Yeah,
one for sure.
I'll be sending you a copy, babe. Right, big love.
Nice.
Enjoy the rest of your
Okay.
day.
Love you.
Bye.
Bye.
Yay. Alrighty. So coming on next, you have to X yourself out, Lindsay, because I don't think I can. Yeah. So coming on next will be in a moment, Justine, Hamill, and Jase to Patu. I'm just going to see how do I see if they're there. I'm going to tag them in the comments and say bring them in. So just bear with me, guys, while I attempt to do this on my phone. Can I do this? Doesn't bring up the tag. Okay. All right. So I'm just going to wait until those guys they know that come on at 11:40. So I'm just going to wait until I see them pop up. I'm just going to read this message from Elisa. Let me just see. Get in there now, James. Thanks, Renee, for messaging. Yay. Hey, Ange, another old friend. Lisa and Ange are old friends from Whistler as well. So we're talking today about Sex, Drugs and Yoga, which released yesterday on Amazon and is now available for a discounted price until 7 o'clock tonight, New Zealand time. I'm just waiting for a couple of my amazing yogi friends, Justine and Jase Patu. We are in the page. Let me see. How do we log on to the live? This is tricksy because I can see on my phone, but I can't respond. All right, guys. I'm sure they're going to find their way here. So I'm going to keep talking to you guys, the audience. One thing I really want to note is that I have been in terror for the last couple of days. It's been a really intense time, which makes sense, of course, because the book is coming out and it's terrifying. It's terrifying. And as I just feel into this for a moment. So it's like there's this terror that's been triggered in my field, and because the internal system doesn't want to feel the terror, it's been wanting to run away and wanting to hide, and then feeling really, really bad. So the last 2 days, I've literally just wanted to run away and hide in the forest, and particularly in the half hour. Hey, Renee, can you send those guys to the event, Justine and Jase, because they're trying to find it on my page, but they need to go to the actual online event, and then they'll see the live. So particularly in like the half hour before going on to these lives, normally I love doing lives. Like I've been doing live video for a long time, but coming into these ones, I have felt absolutely terrified, and it's been like kind of pushing myself through thick molasses to show up and do this. And it has required that I use all of my tools, all of my practices to stay present and to remind myself that it's just sensation, that it's just sensation that I'm feeling. Because terror is, of course, one of the most difficult sensations to experience, because our system wants to move away from it. You know, like the fight, flight, or freeze system, when we feel terror, it's a signal that's literally telling us to fight or to flee. Yay, there's Justine. Or to freeze. And so I've been having intense terror the last few days. Okay, so Justine, at the moment, can I guest request? All right, so Justine, you can request to join the broadcast now. So see if you can request, because at the moment I can't add you. So there's no little green symbol on you, Justine, that lets me add you, but you might be able to request to join. What does Jase's symbol look like? Is he on there? If Jase, if you are watching, can you comment so I can see what your face looks like? Because there's a few ones I can't quite tell. For whatever reason, Justine, you're on a laptop or you're on your phone? Because you'll need to be on your phone watching for me to add you. That's the one thing. Or if Jase is watching on his phone, then I can add him. So hopefully we can sort that technical stuff out. One of the benefits of going through all these experiences of psychosis and really learning to witness myself is that I've honed my ability to be able to feel down through the subtle layers, so that when my mind starts having particular thoughts, I'm usually aware that there's something going on deeper in the body. It's like, okay, what are the feelings? And then often there's something going on even deeper. Okay, so Justine, I can't add you guys for whatever reason because there's no green symbol beside your name. Can you request to join? Are you watching on your phone, Justine? Because if you're on your laptop, it won't let you join me either. Awesome, cool. So we'll just wait a little bit and see if Jase and Justine can figure out how to get on the live. It's always a little bit tricksy with Facebook Lives. Like, is it going to work? Is it going to be easy? And it's so frustrating. I can see someone there, but I can't add them. I don't have the power. Oh. Oh, shoot. No, can't do it. Oh, I really want to bring Justine and Jase on because they're doing amazing work in this realm. Technical difficulties, come on. Okay, so I'm just going to have to keep talking for now. And okay, so Justine looks like she's so the live is on the event, the Facebook event, Justine. So if you go to the Facebook event for the online launch, so that's where the live is. Oh, yay! We can see a request coming in. Woohoo! Adding Justine. It always helps. Adding. Oh yeah, Connie just showed up. Awesome. Yay, Connie, you'll be on after these guys. It's still adding. You're coming in, Justine. Sometimes the Wi-Fi is a little slow, but it is pulling you in. So Justine and Jase are down in Wellington. They own a yoga studio down there. It used to be the Power Living Studio, and they are just in the middle of a rebrand, which I'm sure they'll be able to tell you about. Wow, it's taking a while to add you, Justine. I've just got the flashing, adding. It's keeping me in suspense. Adding, come on, bring her on. Come on. I'm not sure why it's not doing it because my Wi-Fi seems pretty stable. Right. No answer from the live video guest. Okay, let's try again. Add. So maybe you need to hit OK or something. Connecting. No one on the line. No one. We've done it.
We've done it.
Yay!
Welcome.
Jason, Justine, I'm getting a bit of feedback.
I'm getting a bit of feedback.
Have you guys got the laptop
Have you guys got the laptop on sound as well? Is that better?
Hi guys.
Hi guys.
There's all kinds of sounds coming in though. It's like our line's been hijacked by aliens. Hang on. I'm going to try and pull you in again. Because every time I speak,
I hear myself speak.
Whoa. Okay, so if you want to try and request to join again, Justine, but when I was speaking, I would hear it again, and there's all kinds of noise on the line. It was really intense. So I'm not sure what was going on there, but let's give it another go, because we did manage to get you on. So if you request to join again, because for some reason I can't just add you. Come on, Facebook Live. Play a game with us. Play ball with us. We saw your smiling faces briefly. Okay. Yeah, cool. It was really noisy, wasn't it, Renee? So it wasn't just on my end. Sex, drugs, and yoga, mostly yoga. Now available on Amazon. Just to let you guys know, in New Zealand and Australia, I will be doing direct postal orders soon, and the price is going to work out pretty much the same as ordering from Amazon plus paying the Amazon postage, which is quite expensive. So if you do want a print copy, just hang fire, and I will be launching the direct sales later on this week. So you'll be able to get a signed copy directly from me, and I'll be selling bulk orders as well. So if you want to request to join again, Justine, we'll give it one more go and see if the sound quality picks up better. If anyone watching has a question too, feel free to throw a question down in the comments. Hey Renee, nice to see you. And I can answer a question while we try and see if we can get Justine and Jase to come on. And I saw Connie. Connie, I saw you there as well. I wonder if I can, if you're still watching, Connie, if you can also do a request to join. Oh, yes, I can bring Justine on now. Right, I can see the little thing. Bring Justine on. Yes, adding. All right, so no alien weird noises this time, please, Facebook. Let's have a nice clean audio connection with Justine and Jase. And it says it's adding, so this is good. Adding. Yes, Justine, I know she wants to be in. We're adding. I don't know. Still adding. Come on. All right, I'm going to exit out and try it again, because I can bring Justine on. Yes, please. Maybe it'll work this time. Yes. Oh. Yes. Oh. I can see you guys. You're beautiful, but it's all this noise. Ocean. Wow. Not. Yeah, there's too much weird noise going on, so I'm not going to be able to. Oh. It's a bummer, because I really wanted to speak to you guys. But The sound is off. It's on my side as well.
It's on my side as well.
Alrighty, well,
Thanks.
let's just take a moment in silence
Let's
to
just take a
breathe
moment
together.
of silence to breathe together.
Thank you for trying anyway.
Thank you for trying anyway.
Hey guys.
Enjoy the rest of your day, guys.
Oh, what a shame and what a weirdness. You guys could hear how intense that noise was. Justine and Jase, if you watch it back later, you'll be able to see. Two really amazing, beautiful people doing extraordinary work in this field of mental health and yoga. So that's one of the reasons I was really excited to speak to them. And it's just worth noting that more and more of this work is being done. There's more and more recognition of the power of meditation and yoga practices to really help with things like depression and anxiety, etc. And there's more and more programs that are being run, programs in schools. For example, Jase is a big part of a mindfulness in schools program. I can't remember the exact name of it off the top of my head. And it just makes my heart so glad to know that in so many realms and so many ways that people are doing this work. Connie, are you still around? Yeah, because I saw you say hi. Let me just see if I can bring you in. You're not showing up as a viewer right now, so maybe you're not watching anymore. Okay, alrighty. So I'm just going to talk a little. If anyone has any questions, any comments, to just throw. Yeah, Renee, it was so like aliens were on the line, wasn't it? Right, Ange, can you tell us about when you started training yoga? Awesome. So Ange, you're in the book. It's part of. I lived with Ange and another girlfriend, Juanita, in Queenstown in 2005. So I got back to New Zealand in October, beginning of October 2004, after having those 2 psychotic episodes and ending up in the psych ward. And I was put on medication, and I disagreed with everything the doctor said. So they gave me an antipsychotic and something else. So I was taking 2 different prescriptions at the time. And in January of 2005, so I stayed with family for the first couple of months. And then in January in 2005, me and Ange and Juanita got this amazing house. It was just this little 3-bedroom townhouse on Turner Street in Queenstown, and it looked out over the whole town. So we would sit there on the balcony of this little 3-bedroom townhouse and just check out everything that was going on. And so we called it the lily pad, because we felt like we were like little, frogs sitting on the we call it the lily pads. And so when I was there, I can't remember what month it was exactly, but I think it might have been around March or April. I'd been on the medication for about 6 months, and I felt like, well, I'm living in a great place and I have a great job. I was bar manager at a upmarket bar that was part of a hotel where the rooms were like $1,000 a night. So I had that job, and I had Ange and Juanita, who were 2 amazing friends. And it was like, all right, I feel like I'm ready to start to cut down on the medication. So I had a chat to my mum, who was living just up the road in Glenorchy, and I had a chat to Juanita and Ange, and just started to slowly cut the dose down. And I don't remember how long it took, but everyone was just, on my side, basically watching out in case there was anything untoward, and nothing untoward happened. And that was the last time I ever took medication for anything. And I was sweet, like coming off the medication, I was fine. And what else? I'm just going to go back to your question. Yeah, so that was how I got off the meds. It was a case of talking to my support network, being really clear about what I wanted to do, and then cutting down very slowly and paying close attention to see if I started to go into any kind of deluded thoughts or any grandiose ideas. And I didn't. And I'd also been practicing yoga. Like I was practicing, so my phone is just going crazy with all these people messaging me. I'm just making sure the ringer's on silent. Yeah, so I was practicing yoga. Yoga was a massive part of my recovery. Like I remember being in the psych ward and practicing yoga, Ashtanga at the time, and I would go out on the lawn and do my practice. So when I came out of the psych ward and I came back to New Zealand, I was practicing 3 or 4 times a week because the practice of yoga took me out of my head and it calmed my nervous system in particular and made such a massive difference to how I felt. So it was just absolutely instrumental, and it felt like my grounding and my rock. So with that practice of yoga, and then the job I had and the friends I had and the awesome house I had and having my mum was amazing support as well. I just had all of that awesomeness around me, and that has been such a fundamental part of my recovery. It has been that my friendships and my family and the work that I do and the yoga practice I do. Yeah, awesome question, Ange. Thank you. Alrighty, so any other questions? And because I know a few people have lost the live. My friend Renee lost the live, and Connie, who was going to do it, she lost it as well. So if there's no more questions, I might sign off for right now. And just say, okay. All right, big love to you all. Thank you guys for watching. I know today was a little bit messy with some of the sounds that were coming on and trying to get Justine and Jase on, which didn't flow for whatever reason, but such is the thing. Anyway, Sex, Drugs and Mostly Yoga is now available on Amazon. You can buy it on discounted price for the next 7 hours or so, and then you can buy direct from me. If you're in New Zealand or Australia, you can buy direct from me soon. I'll be launching that in the next week or so. Big love to you all, and I'll see you guys when I see you.